Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful card, and it looks lovely on the outside, but as soon as you open it up there's another wow factor to it, which I really love with cards. People don't expect that. They think you've spent a lot of time on the outside, so they don't expect the inside to look really good like that. So it's a really nice thing to do. I'm going to show you how to do it with a square card, but also you can cut down your cards and I'll show you that as well. The matting and layering becomes different, so you need to stay tuned to watch that, because this is just a square piece of paper folded that's gone inside of a square card. But when you want a rectangular card with a square piece of paper going inside, it changes. So stay tuned to see how you do that. This, for your information, is a hunky-dory card. Now, you always get printed cardstock with this collection. This is the Wildflowers collection. But what I've done is I've actually used the front of my card as the inside, so I've folded it in half and made back the blank part on the outside. So this is actually the cardstock. So there's one way you can do it, and then I've just added gold and some leftover papers. It was literally just the two sheets, so this is a strip from the inside that was left over. So, you know, think outside the box when you make your cards. You can do different things with your paper kits. And then I've done one of the double-sided papers. As you can see, it's got this gorgeous pink on the back, but I decided to go real anemone in honour of my nan, who passed away. She'd have been, I think it was 113, Mum said, yesterday on St. Patrick's Day, and she loved anemone, so I thought I'd make this one. And yeah, it's just nice, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is start with a 5 7/8 square card. So with a A4, so this is an A4, if you cut it in half, score it in half even, it becomes a 5 7/8 score line. And then if you just cut it down to 5 7/8, then you end up with a square card. Now, my channel is all about the know-how, as you've seen before, so I'm only going to show you how to do it, not decorate it. That's entirely up to you how you go with that. So what you need then is a double-sided paper. It doesn't actually have to be. It can be single-sided, so you can print it from your CDs or your USBs, things like that. It doesn't matter, because if you have a look, you only really see it as it's opening. You only see that pretty pink as it's opening. Once it's open, it's all about the flowers. Now, don't forget, you can use plain paper and ink it and do all your lovely stamping designs, and fold it first and then use the, you know, the two triangles that you'll get at the top and the bottom, and then your two sections here. So it's up to you now which side you want to use. I'm going to show this side because I think it goes really well with the craft card. So I've cut this down to 8 inches square, and then what you need to do is fold it in half, so straight down the middle like that. Open it up and fold it in half the other way. So you've got like a plus sign down through the centre of your card, like that. And that's with the paper up. I've got a bit sticky on there. Hang on a minute, I'll just get that off. There, that's better. So we've just got like a plus sign down through the middle of that now. And then you need to make a diagonal fold. So if your card's stock and you think you're going to open it that way, it probably looks better that way because you've got your butterfly going up. So I think it looks nicer that way. So you're going to have to turn it to a diamond shape for this. And then what you would do is turn it over and make your diagonal through the centre, but you want the fold going the other way. So we're just going to go in on this one like that. Just line up your points, and then these, if you've cut it straight, which I do know I'm really bad at cutting things straight. It's important, but I don't know what. I have got wonky eye syndrome, so we'll leave it down to that. We'll blame it on that. So then, you see I've done that, so it's like wanting to push up. Now if you push the centre, it automatically pings up, and that's the way you want it to be. And then you just bring these points into that point, and then this point down to that point. And that's how you do that. Then you're going to add your tape or glue. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on here just to show you how to adhere it to your card. And then we'll do the mats in layers. But obviously use wet glue, spend a bit of time. So I've just literally flipped it over. I'm doing front and back. I haven't decorated this card, but remember that you need it to go in with your butterfly. If you did have this as the top, you'd want your butterfly at the top, the way we decided we were going to do it. So the butterfly at the top. So open up your card, fold this down, And you can use your, if you have mats and things like that, you can either measure and put little marks, or you can use your mat to line it up. So just get it roughly in the center there and there. And if these 2 points are across that line, then it's going to be good. So you can see this one fits within the card. I'm just going to take these off and then just fold the card down. So push it up, let it come down, flip the card over to the other side, open it up, push these down, turn it a little bit so I can get under because I'm right-handed. I have to start on the left-hand side for some reason. We're all made different. So I'll just open this up and you can see it's going to be that way. So there's our butterfly that we decided was going to be at the top. So now we know we need to decorate the front this way. Now, one other thing I'm going to point out to you is if you stand this card up, you're not going to be able to see with it. It actually balances on the points when it's open. So if you didn't want that to happen, you can always still open your card this way and put your panels like this. So make sure your diagonal, your butterfly was up there when you folded it and you wanted it to be that way around. So you can do it that way if you want. And then when it stands up, it just doesn't wobble. It stays on its side. So that's something to remember, that, you know, if you want it like that, it is sitting on the points. It does rest on these and they could get dented. So there's just something to bear in mind. So I know we put the butterfly up that way, but that meant the whole pattern was going the way we wanted it, and we are going to cover it. So this was an 8-inch square piece of double-sided paper. So my mat's in there so that I can write on them if you wanted to, and you don't have to cover both up. You could leave that one and just put one down there, but I'm just for the purpose of the demonstration. So what I've done is I've cut these down by 1/4 inch. So that was a 4-inch square because it was an 8-inch square. These are 4-inch squares, these sections, if you turn it around that way. So you want to cut this one down to 3 1/4 square, and then you can just offset it and have 1/8 inch. So that's how you work out your mats and layers. And I'll just use a little bit of wet glue on that. And it's quite simple, so this is going to be done. In fact, I might not cover up that one. You know what I'm saying. So we've got top and bottom, because if I go and use this card, it'd be nice to have that, I think. And obviously if you're going to use stamps on these, then do all your stamping first before you glue it into your card. If you're going to put your message on there, if you're going to print it and then cut it down, if you're using USBs and things. So there you can see, I will put the other one in because then you get the true idea of what it looks like. I keep changing my mind. I'm like the weather, mind you. It is sunny today and actually quite warm. So we're all very excited. Vitamin D me up. I've got glue on that one. So I think I need vitamin D because my nails are shocking. Now you're all going to look at them. And they were really good and they've just all fallen apart for some reason. So there we go. You can see now that that closes up completely. You can see nothing. It's quite flat. You've just got the thickness of whatever paper you've used. And then it opens up to give that wow factor. So now let's show you what you have to do if you're using a different size card. Now the other thing you need to remember is when you open up your card, you know that in A4.5 you need an 8-inch square. This I've cut down to 7.5. Okay, so this is a 7.5-inch square, and if you look at it, if you go point to point, if this was overhanging the card, it's too big. Okay, so you need to make sure when you cut your square, if you've cut it down to 8 inches, that would be too big. It would be overhanging the bottom and it won't work. So just cut your square down, do a diagonal check down through the middle of it to make sure everything's all right. And then what we'll do then is fold it exactly the same way as we did before. So we're going to do our plus sign. So make our little plus sign in the middle. So I haven't cut this square, I can see that already. And then the other way. And thanks to everyone that subscribed to my channel. I am very appreciative of it, and your likes and comments. Yeah, if you haven't and you want to, please do. So we've got our plus going in, then we need to turn over and get a diagonal. With this pattern it's pretty generic, so it's not important which way we do this one. So we're going to pop this one in like this. There we go. So again, we wanted it that way, so just push the middle down and it pings up, and then you can make your folds. So you just bring that down to the bottom point, and then that one as well. Give it a little good score like that, and we'd add our tape. But before we do that, I'm going to show you what the problem is now that we will solve. So we pop that into our card like that, and it fits fine that way, but you can see it's overhanging the edges. So our card is 4 1/4, so half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8. So what you need to do is either measure, or if you've got a trimmer, that'll make it even simpler. And what you do is you put your points, so where it opens, that is, so you have to have it this way, not that way, because you're cutting the wrong bit. So where it's joined in the middle, it goes up at the top, and you just put that on 2 1/8. Okay, so there's 2 1/8, and then this point down the bottom, line it up to 2 1/8. And you might have to eyeball it like I have to here, because I don't quite have the right grid on here, long enough grid. And then you're just going to snip off the side, and then you're going to spin it over, so you've got the other side, and you go 2 1/8 again, so it'd be the same measurement, 2 1/8, 2 1/8. You can see my folds are there. I haven't done a very good job of the cutting down initially. So now we've got a shape that looks like that, and I really like that. I think it's really pretty. I actually prefer it. So it's a really nice shape. Now we want our mats in layers to go onto this. So I've cut these down like I did the last one. So this started off, did I tell you what it started off? I think I did, didn't I? 7 1/2. Okay. So now we want to have the squares would have been 3 3/4. So then I cut down to 3 1/2 inch squares. So now I've got 3 1/2 inch squares to go in here, but you can see they're overlapping this section here. So because we did 2 1/8 when we cut down our diamonds last time, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to only go down 1/8. Don't go down 1/4, just go down 1/8. So because you're doing it each side, you're going to end up with 1/4 off of it. So just line that up to your 2, and then cut that off, and then spin it over and line that up to 2. I mean, I could have moved it along because I have got that grid, but if you haven't, then just spin it over and cut that off, and then we'll offer that up. What you'll see is we've got the right shape now to fit into there. So we'll do that again. So your square was 7 1/2, so half of that would have been 3 3/4, and then you cut it down. You cut this down another 1/4 inch to 3 1/2. So these are 3 1/2 now. But then you know that you want to be 2 1/8 was the last one, so you want to go down 1/8. So you're on 2. You just pop onto 2. It's very static, this ruler. Dee dee dee. Sing amongst yourselves, and then 2 on there, and 2 on there. So that's my 1/8 each side. We can offer that up, and you can see that there's our mats in layers. So you do exactly the same thing with this, even though it's a different shape. You just need to, and if it is still too big, then you can always cut it down even a little bit more. So you just have to make sure that your centerpiece is on that fold. Okay, so make sure your centerpiece is on that fold. And what I mean now is, you'll see if your card's a little bit out, you can still trim this afterwards. So put your tape on. Just rub it down. Always rub it down. There we go, 1 2 3, and then just line that up. And now we've got the sides to line up because we've already cut them off, so we know it's got to be lined up with that. And pull that down, turn it over. Gonna have to add some tape because I haven't yet. Whoops, went over the side a bit there. I'll pull it back. Came back on its own anyway. There we go. So now you've got that gorgeous opening. It's like a hug, isn't it? hugging a card. And then we can pop these mats and layers in. My word, you're not allowed to come. So I'll just quickly pop those in. She says dropping the glue. Oh dear. Here we go. So I'm just using a bit of wet glue because it's got a little bit of manoeuvre time. Just pop that into there. It's more important to line up the top section. You'll get a better look, like your even border around each section like that. And you can use another colour. You don't have to be white. And I will explain to you my hunky-dory card in a minute. So if you want to stay tuned, I'll just explain to you exactly what I did with that, so that you know what I did and how I did it. So I'm just going to put that into there like that. So now we've got our mats and layers, and obviously you don't have to do that. You could add another flower up there, stamp it, etc. But there you go. It's all inside. We've got our wow. Isn't that cool? So with the hunky-dory card, what I did, like I say, is I took the cardstock and I cut it down to 5 7/8, folded it in half, and that is all cardstock through there. Now, if you wanted to use white card, you could cover the paper inside as well, because you've got quite big areas showing if you didn't want to do that. Then I used my 8-inch square and cut down and pop that inside. But how I decorated the front, the leftover paper, as you can see, is pink there. So this was 8-inch, so I had a strip of paper left over, and I also had a strip of my cardstock left over. So I put my gold down, and then I cut down 1/4 inch smaller on the strips, the length of them, and this is actually overlapping the other. So then I made separately these two little pieces and put on a border strip, and then I did that to the card, so I made sure that was 1/4 inch smaller, and put that onto the card. And then with foam tape I just added on my tag and my other little anemone. Tells you all about it. And anemones are also called wind flowers. They have this nickname because the word anemone derives from the Greek term enemos, I'm going to say that wrong, meaning winds. How cool is that? So lots of interest there. So thanks for watching, guys. Give me a like, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.